Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Raw review. So, it turns out that Raw was actually a pretty good fucking show. I have to admit it. Not perfect, not extremely good, but good. It was a good show. It's about fucking time. It's like there's no excuse why they can't have a good show. There's nothing wrong with their roster. It's okay. It's a bit lacking, but they got some guys back. Cesaro returned. They have a decent talent pool. It's just they don't know how to use them. And use them properly. You could get by with a lot less. Back in the Attitude Era, they lost a whole bunch of guys. To the naked eye, it looked like they had shit. But then they turned everybody they had into big stars. It was like that. Just out of nowhere, big stars based on the guys they already had. Think about it. The Rock, the guy walked in and he was like a fucking jobber. I know they like to say it's Survivor Series, in '96. The Rock came in, Rocky Maivia, and everybody thought something was special with him. The whole crowd fucking hated him. They thought the guy was going to only last a couple of months. Who knows? Like, Heath Slater could be the next Rock. You just never know. The thing is, with The Rock, they gave him an opportunity. Think about it. If The Rock stayed as Rocky Maivia, he wouldn't have been able to portray, that character that got him over and eventually made him a movie star. He's even having more success with that. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter, who the guy is. If they don't give him the right character, they ain't gonna go far. This is what I've been explaining. So there's nothing, wrong with the roster. You could turn what appears to be a bad roster into a good one just by, giving certain opportunities and changing a couple of things. We started off with Shane McMahon. And at first, I wasn't feeling this. I was even writing on Twitter. Shane sounded tired, but he got a little bit more energetic as he went on. Like, I don't understand. He's not really that old. He's 46. Vince McMahon. I don't. This is what I really don't understand. This is even before Shane took the dive off the cell. I was even saying it. How come Vince McMahon in his 50s and in his 60s always sounded so much more energetic, but Shane half the time sounds like he wants to take a nap. Now, I like Shane. I'm happy that Shane's there. I like listening to Shane cut promos. Just the presence of having him there, makes the show more enjoyable because I'm a Shane McMahon fan. But I don't get like why he's so tired. You could say stress, but McMahon's company almost went out of business. He came back and he was more energetic than ever, and he was always energetic on commentary. So I really need to ask the question: why does Shane sound so exhausted on the mic half the time? He just got out there and his voice sounds like he sounded like he was laying down. When you wake up in the morning and you call somebody when you're laying down, you don't even sound like yourself. That's how Shane sounded. He started making a bunch of matches. Kevin Owens came out and he demanded that he get a rematch for the Intercontinental title, but he said that he was gonna have to earn it. So then they made the match right then and there. It was Cesaro and Owens. This was a really good match to kick things off. I'm really liking Cesaro's new entrance with the rip away suit. Any little thing to try to get Cesaro over. If they don't want to give him a character per se, like a gimmick or anything, it's make him a little bit stylish, make him cool. I know they're going for the Jason Statham look or maybe a little bit of James Bond, just a cool guy. They tried this like one time. They showed him getting out of like a nice car, like a BMW or some shit. They need to show more of that. Any little thing to just add to the character, just to give it not that he's just a great wrestler. We all know that Cesaro is a great wrestler and really strong. But, little things like that, the way how they dress him outside the ring. Like I said, there's little things they could do. There's a lot of, possibilities. Just like in a movie or a TV show, an actor could play many different roles. It's the same thing for a wrestler. It's a show. This is what people fail to realize. It is the same thing. This is the same explanation I give to people that tell me wrestling is fake. I always say, isn't a movie fake? They're playing a role. And it's not really about whether it's fake or not, but I'm saying that it's like a movie. They're writing the script. These characters in the wrestling show act out the script. And that's what it is. So, you can change the script, change characters, add things in. You know what I mean? You have an idea of how you want a certain wrestler to look, different style or something. It's all about that. All about, an interesting look, whatever it is. You got a character, just like in the wrestling games. You could customize them, add to them, make them stand out. That's what I'm saying. So the entrance with Cesaro, I like that. It adds to it, and it was a really good match. I probably would have liked to see a little something with Sami Zayn, maybe, just like trying to distract Owens, or maybe have him on commentary or something. And, here's the thing, what I don't fucking understand. Why don't they fucking get rid of Byron Saxton already? I don't fucking get it. Every single week, JBL or Michael Cole, they knock Saxton. They tell him how much he sucks. Saxton was saying something about wrestler tolerating something or whatever, and JBL says, I tolerate your insipid commentary every week. I talked about this in the past. When they actually admit that something's bad on the show, it really is a real head scratcher why they don't just change it. If it's so much of an issue and they are so self-aware of what's terrible on the show, Saxton is horrible. I don't like Cole either, but Cole is 10 times better than him. Even in NXT, Saxton is just plain boring as shit. You look at him and he looks like a fucking nincompoop, basically. So somebody said this, I forgot, months ago. He said that he looks like the generic creator wrestler, from all the fucking WWE games. Before you actually start adding on your, on the car. So he's like a plain fucking dude, bald head, just a dude in a suit. That's all he is, just a bald guy in a fucking suit, and he's got nothing interesting to say. And I know sometimes he tries to get like a little quip in there, and he thinks he said something clever. He tries to get the one-liners in there, but JBL and Michael Cole are bad enough. Why don't they have a two-man team? They always had a two-man team most of the time. Whether it was Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse the Body, or Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan, the King and JR. In 2002, 2003 more, I think they started experimenting. They started putting the coach with JR and the King. And I was always like, why? Why do they have to have a third man? You ever heard of a third wheel? Exactly. Get him the fuck out of there. Though you don't need him. You don't fucking need another guy in there. Why the fuck does Saxon have to be a part of this? It's like who invited him? Why does there have to be 3 people? It's too many fucking people. 2 is good enough, for God fucking sakes. In ECW, Joey Styles got by on his fucking own. He used to call the matches all the time by his fucking self. So I don't understand, why the fuck do you need to have 3 guys? You have a color guy and a play-by-play guy. That's how it always was. With Monsoon, Heaton, and the Body and Heaton would always be the color man. Monsoon would be the play-by-play, and JR was the play-by-play, and the King was the color commentator. So JBL is the color commentator, Michael Cole is the shitty-ass play-by-play, but you fucking get my point. You know, it's like, why the fuck do they need to have him there? I don't get it. Charlotte was backstage with Ric Flair, and Dr. Phil walked in. And this wasn't really that bad. You know, it was, you know, a little bit awkward with Dr. Phil going, woo! You know, it's just like, why is he there? I didn't really have a problem with this segment, and it was, you know, way better than a lot of the other people that they've had on here. Dr. Phil actually sounded like he knew what he was talking about. You know, Dr. Phil, I guess, you know, he's a big wrestling fan because he recited the whole thing about Charlotte, and it didn't even sound like he was really, you know, filled in. He just knew. So, you know, that was a pleasant surprise that Dr. Phil actually was familiar with the product. What he said to Charlotte, you know, trying to convince her to not cheat and stuff like that, and don't rely on her father. You know, she's using her father to win matches. It was okay. It's just the woo part just was a little bit weird for me. I didn't like it that much. New Day came out to cut a promo. I did like the little graphic they had with the bootios falling over, and then the tournament brackets came out of it. You know, I'm not into this whole fucking bootio cereal bullshit, but you know, I like that they're doing the tag title tournament. Shane that talked about that at the beginning of the show. I'm looking at the you know, the promo was okay. Um, Xavier Woods mentioned NBA Jam. You know, I like that game, but I don't like New Day. I still don't like them. They're just so fucking annoying, and it's too fucking nerdy. You know, I can appreciate the video game and the Dragon Ball Z references and shit like that. But, you know, like I said, there's no need for it. I don't need fucking references to shit I like. You know, that's all fine and well. Xavier Woods is probably a cool guy in real life, but, you know, this is supposed to be a cool show. I shouldn't be seeing fucking nerdy ass bullshit on here. You know, like, why does that need to be in the promo? You know, that doesn't make for a good promo because he uses NBA Jam as a metaphor. He's talking about, for those who don't know, an NBA Jam, you know, you would be on fire. You would build up your meter. It was an arcade style basketball game. That was a lot of fun. Used to play it in the arcades, and my friend had it on PlayStation. We used to play it as kids. You'd be on fire. You'd like slam the fucking basketball with a dunk, and the ball would be on fire. But that's enough for that. We're not here to talk about NBA Jam, so we got a tag title tournament on our hands. It was the Dudleys, and they defeated the Lucha Dragons. Sin Cara got thrown out of the ring during the commercial break. It's a really important tag title tournament, and it starts during the break. You know, when the fuck? You know, this was only like, you know, they don't even show this on the app, you know, the WWE app. But they don't even fucking mention that shit anymore. But remember when they used to show the matches during the commercials? We actually, me and a friend actually checked this out months ago. You know, I actually, it was Rob who you saw me do the Hell in the Cell review with in my Raw in Brooklyn review back in December. I asked him to check when we were at that event. I said, go on your phone and see. He actually still has the WWE app on his phone. I said, go on the app and see if they show the matches during the commercials, and they don't. So they're not even using that as a little gimmick anymore to get you to download the app. The match just starts during the commercials. You would never see this back in the day. They only started doing that during the app era. That fucking shitty ass app. So, the match is not important enough to watch. By starting it during the commercials, you're telling me I shouldn't even give a shit about this match and this really important tournament. The crown #1 contenders. So the Dudleys won, and Kalisto is, he got injured during the commercial break. He's on the outside selling. Everybody thought that it was real, and I wasn't sure what to think, but it turns out that was just, part of the show. I don't know why he was selling during the whole match, and they wanted to get Kalisto out of the way. Maybe they didn't want to have the U.S. champion lose again. So that they got him out of the way. But maybe it will lead to a feud. The thing is, it's like, why the fuck is Kalisto competing for tag titles? If he's got the U.S. title, isn't that like way better than the fucking tag titles? This guy was in singles, and he's got the U.S. title and shit like that. Shouldn't he be more worried about the U.S. title? I mean, what the fuck? Why is he still in a fucking tag team? What they should do is they could turn this into a feud. Why don't they have Sin Cara go heel, have him fucking, dress in black again? This is still the Unico Sin Cara, so he could go back to doing that shit again. Remember Sin Cara Negro? They could go back to that shit. Have him feud with um Kalisto. It would be more interesting than what's going on here. After the match, Enzo and Cass come out. They cut a promo. These guys are so fucking entertaining. And, Enzo's style of talking is just, it's great. The part where he says, he said, you guys wouldn't be, the Dudleys say, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for, the Dudleys being a tag team. And Enzo says that, it was because his mom got it on with his dad. That's why he's there. He says, how you doing? That was pretty entertaining. You know what I'm saying? This is funny, legitimately funny and natural. The thing is, even, this goes for comedians too. You could have a joke or say something funny. For example, Back to the Future. Christopher Lloyd. Now that's a funny comedy actor. In Back to the Future, Christopher Lloyd didn't really say anything funny, but it was the way how he said it. That is also holds very true for wrestling promos. You could, like, if you're Roman Reigns, you can make anything sound lame. But then again, somebody else could come along and say the same thing and they could sound awesome. So it all depends on how something is said, who's saying it. There's a lot of different factors, as I said. It's all about the writing and the character development and who they're giving these characters to. Certain people are suited for certain roles better than others. You know what I'm saying? It's like actors in Hollywood. It's the same shit. It's like, if something doesn't work, try to change a character. But, but Enzo and Cass, I'm looking forward to this. And I wrote this on Twitter. Why the fuck is Enzo and Cass and the Dudleys, why isn't that going to be the tournament final? Well, I don't get it. They're going to face each other, when Enzo and Cass win their match on SmackDown, obviously. And then they're going to have the match on Raw, I guess. I don't really understand this. And according to New Day, it sounds like they're going to have the rest of the tournament on the network. So I don't know. Maybe they got a special coming up. Does anybody know anything about that? I really think that should be the #1 contenders match in the tournament final. If they're building up to this big feud with the Dudleys and Enzo and Cass, why are they going to get this match out of the way in the second round? It should be the fucking finals. Weird decision. Unless, this obviously means that the Usos and Enzo and Cass are going to go at it. I guess, right? I have no idea. It would be a face versus face. Dudleys and Enzo and Cass would be so much fucking better. The Roman Reigns comes out to cut a promo. He goes, they are all booing him. The whole crowd's booing me. He goes, it doesn't matter because I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm the guy. Now, the thing is, he said this last week on Raw, said it again on SmackDown, and now he's saying it again. And he said it's slower, it paced it. You know, the thing is, this is the one line that he's got that worked for him. And now they're stretching it out. He should have only said it once, but now he's going to keep. If he says it a fourth time, I swear to fucking God. Anyway, the League of Nations come out, and I'm just like, why? Why the fuck they're back to Sheamus and Roman Reigns? They come down to the ring. Roman Reigns challenges them. They come in the ring. The Wyatts come out. Roman Reigns and the Wyatts are fending off the League of Nations, and you know, I guess it's official. Bray Wyatt is a face now, just like that. And you know, I'm not gonna say that it's impossible, but I don't know. It's just bizarre seeing a character like Bray Wyatt's being a face. But I guess it works. I mean, everybody's cheering for him anyway. So, Shane McMahon teams these guys up, and that's going to be your main event. Dr. Phil comes down to the ring again, this time for Charlotte and Natalya's match. And this was a pretty good match. I mean, you know, if this is what we're going to get from the women's division, I'm all for this. This actually worked for me. This was a nice match. It felt kind of like the NXT style that, you know, we're used to. You know, the good, not the watered down bullshit women's matches. You know, maybe they're making a genuine effort. I doubt it. But you know, if they are, this is a step in the right direction. I don't understand why they didn't have Dr. Phil commentate. He's sitting at the announce table. He doesn't even have a headset. Brian Sex Addict turns to him and is asking him questions. Just give him a fucking headset. You got Dr. Phil on. Fucking let him talk. But good match, and you know, the finish was an interesting way of, I guess, prolonging the feud. You know, you had Natalya getting Charlotte to tap, but Ric Flair got Charlotte disqualified at the same time. So, you know, Natalya got a visible win, so it gives her some credibility. And I always ask this question. Natalya is like one of the best wrestlers on the roster. She has been for years. And they always disrespected her for whatever fucking reason. I know, and I don't really get it. I guess, you know, Natalya is... I really don't understand what they don't like about Natalya. You know, she's pretty fucking hot. She's a good wrestler. What's missing? I know she's got the Hart family lineage behind her. It's not enough. You know, I never got it. You know, don't they get hard-ons for fucking second and third generation wrestlers? Doesn't McMahon love that shit? The Rock, Randy Orton, you know, so it stops here. You know, Natalya is the exception. The Usos beat the Social Outcast. This match wasn't doing it for me. And my God, every single time they run around the ring like that, it's fucking retarded as shit. I mean, it's enough with New Day being nerdy, but then you got the Social Outcast being nerdy. And the thing is, obviously these guys got a lot of charisma. Can we get to know them? We know that Adam Rose is called the Radical Mongoose and all this. But why do we have to go on YouTube and watch, you know, interviews with these guys? Why can't it just be on the show? You know, all those little cutesy interviews that they do on the YouTube channel? Why don't they just fucking put it on the show? Can we get to know these characters? I'm interested, you know? I've been talking about this for years in the YWC. Why can't we get to know characters? You know, they tell us about guys like this with Ambrose and being a lunatic and all that, but how come we don't really get to see it? We don't get to know why these people think the way they do. You know, why is Adam Rose the radical mongoose? What the fuck does that even mean? You know, why the hell is all of a sudden Curtis Axel wearing fucking shorts like that? I don't know. You fucking tell me. Anything. But anyway, the Usos won with a roll up. The Usos had to beat the Social Outcast with a cheap ass roll up. Like, this confused me. I was like, okay, they have to just, they win with a cheap ass move like that. Like, that's like a move reserved for like a quick win. You know, if the match is even or something, or it's like the other wrestlers at a disadvantage, but a schoolboy roll up in a basic match like this. But that wasn't the story here. It was all about the motherfucking Bullet Club arriving. And they beat down the Usos. You know, every beatdown comes complete with a fucking toss into the barricade and another throw into the steel stairs. But, it was cool the way how they came in and everything. Like they just, charged out of the crowd. I thought it would have been a little bit cooler if they maybe said something on the mic, like about them arriving, just like something for like 10 seconds even. They didn't really say anything. And not only that, but there was no reaction from the crowd. I mean, it was cool, but the thing was, it's like no one's going to be able to identify these guys. Carl Anderson, he might have been big in Japan, but this isn't exactly a big name like AJ Styles or if it was Christopher Daniels or Austin Aries. You know what I mean? Carl Anderson's name, people are like, who's that? Ken Anderson or some shit like that? Mr. Anderson? You know what I'm saying? Like, people are not going to identify him. And Luke Gallows looks like 20 other wrestlers you see on the indies or some shit. Like a big guy with a bald head and the beard. We've never had that before, So, like, but, I'm happy they're there and everything. It's just the crowd, they honestly didn't know who they were, most of them. It sounded like 20-30% of the crowd actually recognized them. That was the problem. They're not there to hear the announcers or get to see them up close. I mean, think about it. If you were in the audience, you didn't know that the Bullet Club was going to show up. And there's nothing identifiable about their attire or anything. They were in street clothes, so you're not going to know, And that's kind of like the problem. They didn't do any vignettes on them or anything, so it's not like we're going to expect them to attack. Like, if the Bullet Club was such a big deal, why didn't they do some video packages hyping them coming to the WWE? I don't understand. They don't care about their own hype. The Miz was backstage with, the fuck's her name? Maurice. I almost forgot. Anyway, I'm going to say something positive about her. I like that she's with the Miz. I think it adds to him. Just like Miz Dow was a good thing for Miz to a point until they kind of played it out. But, Maurice, and it's about time, we don't get any valets anymore with these guys. Remember Jeff Jarrett and Deborah? Or Terry Reynolds with Goldust or with Perry Samuel? Eddie Guerrero in China, Triple H in China. Give the guys a valet. I mean, it's like, wrestlers are always getting talked about being, gay and shit like that. They're fondling other men's asses and shit, mounting other men. Why can't they come to the ring with hot girls? These guys, with these great bodies and shit like that. They don't get girls. Like, come on. What happened back in the day? You'd have all these wrestlers coming out with fucking hot ass girls. Not anymore. So it's about time. Put Maurice with the Miz. This is an excellent choice. We need to see more of this. You know, we should have more valets, more managers coming out to the ring with the guys. You know, add something to the presentation. Like, remember I said I liked Seth Rollins? He was with Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury. You know, a little entourage, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, just put the guys with just other, other people. Just to add to it, something different. So, I like it, and I like, how the Miz and Maurice was doing the talking for the Miz. Cesaro came in, and he mocked the Miz. It was a pretty good segment. Um, AJ Styles and Sami Zayn. This was a match they made where if Sami Zayn were to win, it would be a triple threat match, and if he lost, well, then he just lost, and he ain't gonna be a part of the match. This match was great. This was a fast-paced match, and it was excellent. AJ ended up winning with the springboard forearm, whatever the fuck it's called, the phenomenal forearm. Backstage, Shane McMahon sold the match. He said that this is what this business is all about, and that actually says a lot. Having Shane come out there and backstage and say this about these guys and helping them get over. Shane might not realize it, or maybe he does, but what he says can really help these guys. If you see like a big star, they did this a while back, but maybe they want to watch themselves now. Remember that TNA champ Drew McIntyre, when McMahon actually handpicked them and said, "This is going to be your future, world champion here." They could really get people over. Shane McMahon could get people over. Shane, compliments somebody, it goes a long way. So that was a pretty good thing that they had Shane do backstage, and what I liked is they had more of Shane backstage. Shane was getting more involved with the guys. He tossed Kevin Owens out. That's why he didn't interfere. You got to see Shane exerting authority, and that's what I was asking for last week. The highlight reel, Jericho interviewed himself. Dean Ambrose came out. He interrupted. He turned it into the Ambrose Asylum, and then he gave the dirty deeds to Jericho. It was an okay segment. I liked that Jericho was more serious in this, more sinister. Instead of the AJ Styles being like a fucking goofball. He's a heel, but he's acting like an idiot. I like seeing more of this Jericho, the more cerebral Jericho. Not the Jericho, still he was doing that type of shit, the AJ Styles bullshit. I'm happy those days are over. And Dean Ambrose is just like, I wish that he could be a little bit crazier. I want to see this match between Ambrose and Jericho, but I'd rather see, Ambrose just go insane, turn heel, and just, maybe it's not for him being a face, but for fuck's sake, act like a fucking mental patient, act crazy. Like even Jake the Snake was even crazier than Dean Ambrose. You know what I'm saying? Like, have the guy say weird off the wall things. There's nothing really weird that, Ambrose says. He's a little quirky, but quirky is not the same thing as being insane. Um, Apollo Crews beat Adam Rose. Not much of a reaction for Apollo Crews. They should probably try to do something with him. Give the guy a character or some shit. I mean, he's coming out there and it's just like Neville. Feats of athleticism, but that's it. We already saw AJ and Sami Zayn. We already saw Cesaro and Owens. We got to see, frog splashes and corkscrew uppercuts and all these crazy ass moves and shit between the two matches. Apollo Crews, this no-namer's coming out of nowhere. No one's gonna give a fuck. He's talented. The guy's really athletic, but He's not going to stand out on this show with all the other athletic NXT guys. R-Truth was backstage. The Golden Truth, Goldust, and R-Truth, they're still doing backstage segments for them. For fuck's sake. Dr. Phil comes in, he makes like he's going to say something, and then he just says, never mind, and walks away. It was all right, I guess, but for fuck's sake, why does this need to be a team? You know, and like, if it's going to be a team, then make it a team already and stop with this shit. Just get it over with so they can go on main event and superstars and wrestle. You know, we all know they ain't going to win the tag titles. What the fuck is the point of building these guys up so heavily? Just because they need another team in the fucking tag tournament? Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt defeated Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio. And I guess we could thank Bray Wyatt for giving us a decent main event here. You know, even the Eric Rowan and Braun Strowman came in. I guess they're faces too. It's a little bit odd thinking of those guys as baby faces, but apparently they are now. You know, it's more of the anti-hero approach, which is kind of cool. Like I said, the crowd was behind Bray Wyatt anyway, and the crowd was going crazy for Bray at the end there. You know, when he started, you know, getting on fire and he started doing his, you know, thing in the corner, you know, the crowd was really responding to it. It was like maybe the hottest they were all night. You know, they were even more excited about that than they were for AJ and Zayn or Cesaro and Owens. The crowd was, you know, pretty hot for all those things. But yeah, you know, anyway, the show was pretty good. I enjoyed a lot of it. You know, of course, I named the problems that I had, but good matches. I enjoyed more involvement with Shane McMahon, and there was nothing really too terrible. You know, you got your Bullet Club. It didn't really go over as well as a lot of people planned. You know, of course, you could, you know, I'm not joking, you could blame WWE for that. They should have came up with a better way of introducing them. But you know, there was no vignettes. There was no like announcements that they were going to be on Raw. So the live crowd's not going to know, you know, who these guys are when they come out. It's two bald guys. You know, we got enough bald guys running around already. We just saw Cesaro, for fuck's sake. Anyway, it was a decent show. If they keep going in this direction, which I know they won't, you know, maybe Shane had something to do with this show because it was a lot better. And to be quite honest, it was even a lot more noticeably better than last week. It really was. It felt more like a show that really mattered. And, you know, things seemed like they progressed. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. You know, why is Roman and Bray Wyatt, you know, in the main event when it's going to be AJ and Roman? Because they just did a match with Sami, Zayn, and AJ to see if he would get involved. So why the League of Nations involved? Unless that's going to be Bray Wyatt dealing with the League or the Wyatts dealing with the League of Nations at Payback. But, you know, why is Roman Reigns in there? That's random as fuck. See, they need to fix that fucking shit. Why is he involved? It makes no fucking sense. Anyway, motherfuckers, there's your Raw review. Probably much of your surprise. You're probably really surprised I enjoyed the show. But then again, it kind of speaks for itself. They tried. They did some good shit. So, yeah, motherfuckers, good show.